Sui Solutions is a consultancy, as well as doing systems integration, application development. We have a lot of cross-industry expertise and a lot of customers, big and small. And thankfully, we have blessed with a very experienced staff. So the main topics of today's presentation will be dynamic publishing. What is that? We'll talk about the customer experience and how that is really the end-all of what we should be thinking about. We'll talk about contextual relevance and why that's important. We'll talk about how we can engage our customers and facilitate knowledge sharing. Then we'll come back around and discuss how a dynamic publishing platform can deliver that contextually relevant content to your customers. And then we'll see it in action. We'll see a demonstration. And towards the end, we'll have some time, hopefully, for some questions. Okay, the first question that we're going to talk about is, what is dynamic publishing? Dynamic publishing is one of those, I guess, one of those buzzwords that's been flying around for the past year or two. And when I first started presenting about this topic, I started, I sat down to write some slides and started scratching my head. Well, what is dynamic publishing? So I went to what anyone would try to do. I'm sorry. Okay. I tried to do what anyone would do in my situation. I went to a website called thedynamicpublisher.com and tried to see what they had to say about it. And it turns out that the definition of dynamic publishing was a big debate, and a lot of people in our field were debating, what does dynamic publishing mean? So I took the liberty of kind of taking a lot of people's, very respectable people's opinions and boiling it down into my own opinion of what is dynamic publishing. So dynamic publishing provides people with easy access to contextually relevant information, enabling them to be effective. And we're going to talk more about contextual relevance. It harnesses applicable business rules, which we'll talk about. It leverages automation to assemble a variety of different types of content on demand according to each individual's request, according to our customer's requests or whoever is looking at our documentation. And it quickly renders packages and delivers that personalized content to the device, format, and language of choice. You know, people used to talk about, and still do, about single source publishing or cross-platform publishing. And we've seen an explosion of that, where we used to talk about cross-platform meaning online help, WinHelp, remember those? Remember WinHelp and HTML help, and then also PDF and and also website. But now it's not just that; it's mobile devices and tablets and phones and knowledge bases and proprietary handheld devices and and publishing content to knowledge bases or support sites like CRM and Salesforce. So delivering content in a variety of formats and devices is way more than we ever imagined a couple of years ago. So for us, that's definitely a challenge, and it's also, as with many challenges, it's also a very big opportunity for us. So when it comes down to it, it's really about the customer experience. So our goal really is to build the ideal system to meet our customers' needs. Whereas a few years ago, our goal was to get out our documentation in a reasonably good form and out to the customer's hands in a reasonable time frame. So these days, that's really passé. That's as if that wasn't hard enough. Now we have to talk about how to get that content into a system that not only is our customers expected to read it, but to really meet their needs, whatever that is. And we'll talk about what that is. So 36% of people, don't ask me 36% of who, but I saw this in a presentation once, and statistics are always interesting and problematic, but in any case it says something. A large number of people say that personalized experience is why they stay with a brand. So it's not just if the thing works, but personalized experience, meaning product support, access to information, access to relevant information, is why people are staying with a brand. Now that leads us to the problem of trying to understand what our customer needs so we can build that experience for them. So first we need to understand what the customer needs and why they're using your products and services. And then we can go and create an experience that creates value for them, some real value for them. Once we do that, then you can really differentiate your brand. You can build the sustainable relationship, the loyalty, referenceability, market share, profitability, and everything else. So success these days starts with helping you to differentiate your brand from others. Now these days people are on social media all the time, and happy people are sharing their experiences, and disgruntled people are sharing their experiences. So what makes the difference will be the best customer experience. So let's talk a little bit about contextual relevance. So contextual relevance really means what they need when they need it, they being your customer. What does your customer need to see and read and have access to when they need to have it? Okay, you know, we've always talked about contextual or context-sensitive help. If I could, since this is a webinar and I can't really see any of you, but I would ask you to raise your hands and say, how many of you heard of context-sensitive help? I bet you many of you would raise your hands. I see some of you are raising your hands. So these days, it's not just context-sensitive help. It's moving to what's contextually relevant, targeting the customer and giving them the type of content when they need it and exactly what's useful for them. So in order to deliver contextually relevant content, we need to understand who the reader is, who is the audience, what's their profile, and what's their persona. What kind of user are they? Are they an end user, like a consumer? They bought a cell phone. They bought a piece of computer equipment. Are they a technician? Are they a field service engineer? Or are they a support professional? Are they someone going to a doctor because they they need some health care? Who is it? Okay. What's their security profile? What's their proficiency level? If we're talking about technicians or engineers, often the proficiency level is very important in understanding what content we give them. Security also. What do we want to make accessible to different types of people? Are they part of our company? If we have a corporate knowledge base, is someone logging in as part of our company, or are they logging in as a customer, or are they logging in as a potential customer? Okay, that's all. This is interesting information to know in order to target information to our customer. What equipment are they operating? What version of that equipment? What configuration? Especially in larger pieces of equipment, this becomes more and more relevant. What goals are they trying to accomplish? Are they trying to install something? Are they trying to configure something or use it? Or are they just trying to make a purchasing decision? Well, one of our customers, a large corporation, did a study, and they found that many of the people coming to their documentation site are potential customers, and they're coming to read their documentation before they make the purchasing decision of whether to buy from that company or not. And I've heard that from other customers also, and I'm wondering whether you've heard that also. The other question more and more becomes more relevant is which device are they viewing the information on? Will they have network access when they're viewing the information? Okay, and the device that people are viewing the information on is a whole conversation in itself, which deserves its own webinar or two. So let's look at some illustrations of quick access to useful information. So an example, I'm a support professional at a call center. How do I troubleshoot, okay, which is a type of activity? How do I troubleshoot a particular device, a Samsung Galaxy? You can tell how these slides have been are not so up to date because we're already up to S4, I think, right? Anyway, how do I troubleshoot my Samsung smartphone that fails to synchronize on a particular Dell laptop running a certain version of the operating system? Okay. Another example. I'm on vacation. I just want to update my maps. I have a Garmin GPS system. I'm using Bluetooth, and I'm in Europe. How do I do that? Okay, so there's illustrations of trying to provide the right information to the right person at the right time. So the question becomes, fine, that sounds really nice and dandy, but how do I get my content to the point where I can deliver the content or target the content in the way that we're just talking about? So there are multiple approaches to categorizing content. Metadata is one of them. Most people have heard of metadata. A lot of people are using metadata. In DITA, for example, popular metadata or metadata that comes out of the box is audience, category, maybe the type of task they're doing, keywords, the product information. Maybe I can tag up each topic to about which product or product versions and brands that topic is relevant to, or maybe even a component or a feature with a platform that is relevant to. Okay, and you can specialize also, meaning we have customers, and maybe you're doing the similar thing where you have different different types of protocols, or you have different types of interfaces that you're using, and you want to be able to allow people to find content based on that information. Another way of categorizing content beyond metadata is called subject classification. And subject classification basically means allowing you to build your own knowledge model of your domain. Your domain being the subject matter of which you're writing your content about, your product line or your services. So building a knowledge model of your domain, of your products and solutions, and that really generally boils down to a taxonomy. Okay, and a set of relationships between nodes in that taxonomy, or subjects in the taxonomy. So, for example, I can have a taxonomy of a list of solutions, and underneath the solution, different product lines that we offer, and underneath the product lines of different products and versions, relating those versions to operating systems on platforms they work on, maybe geographical locations, etc. Okay, and once we build a taxonomy, we can apply that to our content. Okay, and that gives us the ability and the power to allow people to kind of navigate to a taxonomy and do searching and filtering on content based on how that content is classified or related to that taxonomy. Okay, now there are books written about this, and again, we can devote a number of webinars on the subject, but we're not going to get into it too much in this time. Okay, social engagement. So social is another big buzzword, but I think really what it boils down to is, as people who are, as practitioners who are trying to provide information and content to our users, is it boils down to that we can't be everywhere at once. We know about our products, we've documented them, we know how they work, we know how to install them, we know how to configure them, but we don't always know all the potential uses of how people are going to be using our products. And we don't always know the problems that might arise. So we can guess, we can be clever, we can get budgets to go and interview our customers and watch them and build personas and all that other stuff, which is very useful. But even in the best of intentions, the best of budgets, and the best of resources, we still can't really know everything. So more and more, we're learning to engage our customers. We're facilitating contributions from the field, and allow people to enter information, how-to articles if they figured out how to use your product in a particular way, or troubleshoot it, or connect it with something else. Okay, allowing people to submit information, maybe tips, videos, is becoming more and more ubiquitous. Improving the quality and timeliness of our information by allowing users to comment. User could be someone out in the field, and user can maybe be someone inside of our own company who is commenting on our content, our technical content, and either pointing out possible issues or expanding on information that we provided. And engaging our customers also allows them to build and share their own documents. We're very used to building a document, organizing our content, our topics into publications and throwing it out there and letting people read them or search through them. But when we talk about leveraging our investment in DITA, DITA is not just XML. A lot of the pain and heartache that went into our DITA implementations is chopping our content into chunks and into topics that make sense, topics that can stand on their own. So if we've already done that, then let's let users access those topics as topics. Let them string together the topics that are relevant for them and build their own documents and publish those documents and maybe even share those documents. Okay, it's time for another illustration. Let's say I'm a service engineer. I need to install a new 8300S flow meter. Okay, I'm using a certain protocol, and I'm going to connect it to a certain device manager, and I'm using a handheld communication device. Now let's add a little bit of complexity to this case. The plant that I'm going to has no internet access. Okay, so I want to be able to pull together all the information, the updated information, download it to my tablet before I go on site. Now, once I've gotten on site and I've done the installation, I came across a certain problem and I figured out how to solve it. So I took some pictures with my smartphone and a short video to illustrate the problem and the solution. So when I get back online, when I get back to my office or to my computer, let me write up a how-to article and upload the video so that my colleagues can learn from my experience. Let's have another illustration. Let's say I'm a small business owner and I want to pull together information that's relevant to me. Maybe tax forms that I need to file for my employees, or healthcare reforms as they apply to me as a small business, maybe compliance or different guidelines for the industry that I'm involved with, maybe changes in governmental regulations that are popping up. I'd like to have maybe an RSS feed to a database that's being updated with new changes in the regulations. So I'd like to be able to compile my own set of quick links, so I don't have to keep making bookmarks in my browser or pasting them into some notebook or something. I want to compile my own set of quick links and maintain them. I want to set up an RSS feed to let me know when updates become available. I want to download them to my smartphone so I can reference them when I'm online and also offline. And I want to automatically update the content on my smartphone when I'm online. So wouldn't it be great if I could go to my website, to a knowledge base, to an information provider, and be able to get information, pick out the information that's relevant to me, download it to my phone, and then update that content when new content becomes, or updated content becomes available. Here's yet another illustration. I'm a concerned parent. This is something we can all relate to, a lot of us. My child was diagnosed with a medical condition. I'm interviewing doctors to find the right one for us, and I want to pull information together that's relevant to me. So I want to find articles that maybe describe the medical condition, drugs that are prescribed and the potential side effects, which treatments are available, maybe typical insurance coverage that is relevant to this medical condition. There are sites out there, by the way, I'm not making this stuff up. There are sites out there by drug companies and medical device companies and medical associations that have wealths of information, of articles and pharmaceuticals and recommended treatments, all this stuff. But it's accessing it is difficult. They're using tags, which are fine. Okay, but once you kind of navigate through those tags, you've kind of become lost. Like, if I'm in a certain situation, then it's very useful to be pulling together lots of different types of information in the same database, the same knowledge base, put it together, and be able to keep hold of that. I like to pull together the relevant links. I want to download it to my smartphone so I can reference it while I'm at the doctor's office. I want to post an article sharing my experience and recommending healthcare options to other parents in my same situation. Okay, so when we talk about dynamic content, we talked about contextually relevant information. It's not just techies running around fixing some piece of machine somewhere somewhere in the middle of nowhere or in the middle of a factory. It's it's all of us. We're all users of information. We're all users of products. We're all users of services, and getting information and accessing it and updating it quickly is something that touches all of us. So let's talk about jumping or concluding with taking the leap to a new paradigm, which is dynamic enterprise content. So as we discussed, the new paradigm should contain a variety of content. It could be documentation, it could be videos, it could be how-to articles that people inside my company or organization have written, or others in the community. It could be safety information, it could be marketing material, it could be lots of different types of content. The new paradigm includes context filtering. That means quick, goal-oriented access to information that's relevant to me right now. It means personalized documentation, allowing readers to assemble the content that they need on demand and then render it to a format that's useful for them. It could be to a PDF for printing. It could be to an ePub for offline and mobile access. And it could be to other types of formats that exist today and will exist tomorrow. Now, if we go back to the XML, and leveraging our investment, one of the big advantages of XML is the ability to publish our content in a variety of different formats by building style sheets, by building different transforms. So the pain and the sweat and the budget and the resources that we expended to get our content into structured, topic-based XML content really shines and really comes apparent the advantage when it comes to putting together publishing transforms and publishing it out to the newest transforms, the newest devices, and the newest output formats that are relevant today. And of course, the different languages that are needed. The new paradigm includes audience participation, allowing our audience to add new content, to comment on existing content, to express approval, and to share their knowledge with others. And includes a modern user experience. Now, modern user experience means a lot of different things, but I think one of the things that it means more and more today is creating a smooth transition between mobile and desktop. Often we're seeing, I saw another study somewhere, I can't quote you the percentage, even if it would mean something, but more and more activity starting on mobile devices, then it moves to a desktop. Okay, let's say you're somewhere, and then you do some kind of a search, or you find some kind of article on your mobile device. You move to your desktop, do some more research, more writing, whatever you're doing, and then that activity returns back to the mobile. Okay, so providing that type of experience and that type of agility is part of the modern user experience that people are expecting. Now, even with the smartphones and the tablets and wireless all over the place, so believe it or not, internet connection is not always available. Could be we're at some kind of a customer site or a facility that has no internet access for security reasons or for locational reasons, or in emergency situations. But we cannot always count on internet connection being available. Okay, this is the last slide before we move to a demo. And if we talk about the solution, we talked about what the solution should do. If we talk for a second about how that's going to integrate with the system that we've already built, if we're using DITA or any other XML system, we're using a CMS and we have XML authoring and we have review. So now we're talking about building a transform or exporting that content, the XML content from our knowledge base, or from our content management system into a dynamic publishing system, which has a variety of different content, as we spoke about, and where that system allows us to publish on demand to the different various formats. We spoke briefly before about interactivity between content and other systems, not just knowledge bases, but also CRM systems, customer relationship management knowledge bases, or support systems. And often we can bring in content or bring in information from our other systems inside of our organizations, whether that be product lifecycle management systems, et cetera, to bring in taxonomies and other information about our products into our DITA database and use that for marking up, tagging, and categorizing our content to make a unified experience for our users. So I'm not going to dwell on that too much, but I just wanted to throw that up there as a something to think about. Okay, what we're going to do is see a short demo, and then we will open up to some questions. Oops. Okay. And what you should be seeing on your screen is a knowledge-based system or a dynamic publishing social knowledge-based system that we've developed as Suite Solutions. It's called TweetShare, and we're using this to demonstrate this functionality that we've spoken about just now. This is the web platform that we've developed. We have an out-of-the-box skin, as you can see now, but you can make it look in a lot of different ways. But I'm going to focus on here to kind of show you and give a tour of how we can implement the principles that we spoke about before. Okay, so if I would come to the knowledge base, I can come to a search, okay, and I could start searching. So if we were to use the illustration we had before about the installing that flow meter, so I could go and say, you know, I want to install the 8300 flow meter, right, using Profibus. Okay, now that's how people would, you know, go to Google or go to a knowledge-based system now, which had a basic search. Okay, but now we can actually provide a better situation, a better facility. So I don't even need to type in this search string. I can go to my advanced search. And the advanced search is really allows me to do filtering based on my taxonomy and based on my knowledge model. Okay, and allow the user here to filter down to the content that's relevant to them now. So in this case, I can say, okay, there's a variety of different types of devices. Right now, I'm using a flow meter. I'm going to install that. So I'm going to be installing the 8300 flow meter, and I'm doing installation. And I might also want to see some topics regarding planning, meaning if there's anything I need to do on site before I do the installation. Okay. Now I'm going to go and click on go to get the search. Now when I get to the search screen, okay, I see that the tree, the filtering on the left, in the standard way that that I'm used to these days, if I'm buying a product or doing some other filtering, where I can go and kind of narrow down the choices of topics or information that I'm going to be provided to based on what I'm trying to do. So I say that devices, there are 19 pieces of information in this knowledge base, or in this demo really, related to the 8300 device. And out of those, I'm just going to scroll down. We have 9 installation and 10 planning topics. And I see that there are actually 4 topics that are related to the protocol that I'm going to use. But for now, I'm going to go up and take a look at the content here. And at this point, I can go and start looking at the content. Okay, so in this case, I'm doing an installation of a particular piece of equipment, so I can read about the power source. If you notice now, when I click on the name of the topic and the title, I'm not being jumped into a manual like we usually are used to doing. I see the topic right here and there. I can read it. I can be done with it. I can go into the next topic and read it. Okay. Now, again, going back to the idea of leveraging XML. So a system like this understands XML. It understands data natively. So really, behind the scenes, there's data inside of this knowledge base, and on the fly, I'm able to take that content, that XML content, and I can render it on the screen in HTML5 format. And we'll see later on that I can take that same XML content that's sitting in this knowledge base, and I can publish it to many other formats also. Okay. So I'm looking at the content, and I say, okay, this is relevant to me, and I want to collect that in my personal collection. So I'm going to add that to my docs. So once I click on this, it's going to add it to my own personal collection, like we spoke about before. So meanwhile, I'm going to go back, click the back button, back to the search results, and go down. And I'm going to check this power supply. Okay, that's not so relevant to me. Okay, and now I get a few different options about connecting the wires. And I'm not really sure which wires I need to be connecting here. So I'm going to go up to here, and I see the protocol that I'm using. I'm going to click on the protocol. Once I do that, I'm narrowed down to the 4 topics, and I see that there's really only 4 different variations that are relevant to me. So I'm going to choose the option V. Now, I really don't know what option V is, but just for the sake of this demo, I'm going to choose option V, and I can add that to my docs also. Okay, added that to my collection. Okay, I'm going to go back, and now if I want, I can also go into the manual. If I click on the manual, I can go into the manual, and there I can really go through the manual as if I'm in a help system. I can make comments, like we spoke about before, on different elements of the content. Okay, but I'm going to go back right now to the search results, and now I'm going to be done, and I'm going to go back to my personal collection, and I can organize this content. Move this up. And now I can go and publish this content to a PDF, or in this case, or in the sample that we spoke about, we talked about downloading it to my tablet. So there are a number of different formats that are supported by different tablets. ePub is one of the standards. So I'm going to publish an ePub. Once I click on this button, then the ePub is generated, and I can download that to my phone. Now I'm going to open that now, just on my browser, so you can see how that looks. Again, this is just basic scanning, but it shows how you can go and very quickly put together your content and then publish it to another format. I'm going to close this now. Okay, so we've seen how we can come into a knowledge-based system. We can do a search based on context. We can pull together information that's relevant to me and publish it to a format that is useful for me. I'm publishing it down to my device, my mobile device, and I can make comments. Now, there's other content in the repository that's also useful. For example, how-to articles, which shows up also in the same interface. So I can, again, we spoke about before, a system that provides enterprise knowledge needs to provide not only my technical information content that's written in DITA and XML, maybe other formats, but also knowledge-based articles that are written by others in the community, either in my company or in my user community. I can see videos. So I uploaded this video as a sample. And the videos are also categorized in the same way. Okay, and they show exactly in the same method inside of the search results. So again, there's one in a dynamic, user-friendly, modern interface. The ability to take content and render it on the fly quickly inside of the search results window, we feel provides a user experience that is much better than flipping back and forth between manuals, whether it be a PDF format or even an HTML format on the website. Now, in the example we spoke about before, after I've done my installation and I got on site and I came across some kind of tricky problem, I came back and I wanted to add an article. So I can click on Add Article. And then I can type in a title for the article. So let's say Troubleshooting an 8300 flow meter wire connections. Okay, and I can start typing in content. Now, I'm just going to kind of copy and paste stuff in there for now, and I can go and maybe add an image. Remember we talked about taking a picture with my smartphone, go and upload that image. There's I have an image here that I'm going to choose. Upload the content, and then I'm going to click OK, and that's going to be right inside of my content there. Okay. Okay. Now I can type as much as I want there, and then over here I can also label it in the same way that I would be labeling or classifying the DITA content, the same documentation content. So I can say, okay, well this article here is related to the 8300 flow meter, and I happen to know that this wiring mechanism also happens for the 5700. And I was doing a troubleshooting, okay, but what I'm saying here really can be useful when I'm doing a configuration. And I was using the Profibus. So once I add this article to the knowledge base, okay, then anyone else who comes into my knowledge base, of course that I give access to, will be able to not only see the technical documentation, but will also be able to see the articles and the videos that other people have uploaded. Okay, at this point, I would like to open up for questions. We've talked about dynamic publishing. We've talked about contextual relevance, engaging our customers. We talked about how we can, at least in broad terms, how we can categorize our content to get our content ready for a system like this. And we've seen a system that actually can work and provide a modern experience to provide contextually relevant enterprise content to our customers. So I'm going to open up to questions. I'm going to see if there's any questions. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a hard time opening this this question box here. Okay. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. I'm having a hard time opening this thing up and seeing the questions. Okay, how do you enable users to assemble content on demand and render to PDF in ePub? I think I showed that. So if there's still a question about that, we can you can please ask it again, and I'll try to elaborate. Okay. Okay, yeah, I see that. You say, okay, how does this differ from SharePoint? That's a good question. SharePoint is essentially a document management system that also kind of doubles as a web content management system. Now, SharePoint does allow you to apply taxonomy, and it does allow you to build different views of your content inside the content management system view, and also provide some types of views for your users in some kind of a website. What SharePoint does not allow you to do is store XML content. It does not allow you to take XML content and publish it to multiple formats. Meaning you can store Word documents and other types of documents. You can even store HTML documents inside of SharePoint. And those HTML documents can be made available onto a website. But taking that content and publishing XML content in a variety of formats, either also to your website and also to the various formats SharePoint does not allow you to do. Now, it so happens that we have a system that does called Xpoint, which allows you to store data into SharePoint and publish it into various formats. But it's not something that SharePoint can do out of the box. The question here, if we're using Jira or other frameworks, how can we publish using your tool to that system? So this system here understands DITA natively. So as long as you can get DITA, DITA maps, DITA topics, DITA val file images, as long as you can package that either as a zip file and either upload it either manually or upload it using a simple command line, then that content can come into the system and you can utilize the system. So really it makes it very easy to port content from virtually any type of content management system or data content management system. Now, by the way, this system particularly here is not only confined to DITA. We've had customers who've evaluated using the system with other types of content besides DITA. But the idea is packaging it as the XML as a zip file or some kind of a stream and just uploading it to the system. Regarding Jira, it would be a quick question about how to take content such as maybe issue tracking or knowledge articles that may be inside of Jira and packaging them away, maybe in HTML format and publishing that into the system. So that would be an interesting application. Another question: is your solution available as a hosted model or as an installed system? So the answer is both. This system is provided as a hosted model, as a monthly model, or as an installed on-premises deployment. Are you able to show any good examples of translated content working with English content? So that's a good question. I don't have any translated content uploaded to the system. But being that this system definitely does support localized content, but I'm sorry, I do not have any content like that I could show you at this moment. Can you show us an example of a PDF or ePub made from my docs? Okay, I think I showed that also. I'll show that again. If I go into my docs, okay, so this is the content that I kind of put together into my little collection here. If I click on the PDF, it will create on the fly a PDF file. I'm going to open that up. Now, it doesn't look so exciting. Okay, because we have a very did not invest in a branding for this demo, but it's putting another style sheet on here. You can do relatively easily. You can put some branding and formatting onto this content to make it look more like your corporate branding. Okay, another question. As a system administrator, can I generate a report that shows me all the contributions in the knowledge base? Yes. So one way of doing it from here is you can click on How to Articles, and it will show you all the How to Articles. But yes, you can. Other than that, you can also we can put reports together. Essentially, there's a database underneath that is storing this information, and we can be generating reports on the different types of content, as well as using tools such as Google Analytics to be collecting information as people are, as the community is using the content, being able to see which content is being used as opposed to which content maybe isn't being used. I mean, you can tell which content is not being used by not seeing any clicks to it. But basically seeing which content is the most popular, maybe by geographical location, how often. You can collect information about comments that are being made on that content. And then you can make more relevant reports based on that raw data that those types of systems like Google Analytics can provide. See if there's any other questions. Is any customer using your solution to manage in-house knowledge bases? and how much control does one have about styling their content? Okay, so yes, you can use the system either as in-house deploy or customer-facing, or both. We have a customer now who we are now configuring the system that when someone logs in, and right now I'm logged in, by the way, right? But once you log in, if you log in with a email address with a domain name of the company, then you get access to certain information automatically. And if you don't, then that private information is not made available. Okay, and similarly, we can do some similar types of configurations for the comments and the knowledge base articles. So we can configure the system so that comments and articles, for example, will only be viewed to internal folks and not to people outside of our company. Okay, looking for another question. Oh, you also asked about styling your content. So yeah, there's a huge amount of flexibility to style your content. And I'm going to switch back to this other RadVision demo, or it's not really a demo, this is a live site which you can go and you can look at. But in this case, I can maybe just do a simple search here. And you'll just get an idea of how the content, the interface and the content is styled completely different than the demo that I was showing before. And this is live content on a real site. You can see the way that the metadata is being displayed, and the breadcrumbs, and the way that you can navigate down through a product and through publications. Okay, so all this is possible using the dynamic system. I'm going to read the next question. Can you show an example of the source demonstrating how your metadata taxonomy is specified? That's a really good question, and I can't show it right now. I will be happy to be in touch and either show you, personally, or set up another webinar which we can talk about it in more detail. I've given some presentations in the past which with real examples of content and subject scheme taxonomies and relationship tables. But I'd be happy to show you, if you'll be in touch with me, I can show you some examples, and we can set up another webinar to go into that in more detail. In your PDF example, there were links to other content. Do those links still work? Yes, links still work. In that case, links if the content is not already downloaded to the device or as part of the MyDocs, then the links link back to the knowledge base system. Okay. So, for example, if you have a topic that you added to your MyDocs and and it has a link to a topic that you did not add, then link still works and it would link back to the knowledge base. Okay, I believe we've gotten to the end of the questions. Okay, so I'd like to thank everybody for joining me. Again, my name is Joe Gelb. You can feel free to be in contact. The email that will get to me is solutions@sweetstyle.com. Feel free to be in contact if you have any other questions, and feel free to be in touch. Thank you very much.